Hi, and welcome back to the Crunchy Ginger. Today I'm going to show you a little DIY project, and it is making cloth wipes. So if you cloth diaper, this is a natural next step. I just throw them in the laundry with the diapers, or if you're using them for a purpose besides wiping poop off of baby's bottoms, you can just throw them in your laundry with your dish towels or your towels or really whatever. Other great uses for these besides booty wipes are blowing your nose, wiping up counters, wiping messy faces, and all you're going to need for this project is a pair of fabric scissors. I like to use the pinking shears because this is an easy no-sew method. I do not have sewing skills. This is something that anybody that has a pair of scissors can do. I'm going to make these out of a receiving blanket and also a pair of old flannel pajama pants that have come to the end of their life as pants. Almost everybody that has had a child has about 7,000 of these receiving blankets. You probably have one that looks exactly like this because it is standard issue at most birthing centers or hospitals. We have several of these. If you don't have any receiving blankets, maybe you're watching this before you've had a kid, or maybe you got rid of all that stuff a long time ago and you just want to make some homemade Kleenexes. You can go to a thrift store and buy receiving blankets like this. You can also use old t-shirts. I found old like jogger pants to be really good to make this stuff out of. Old flannel pajamas are really great too. I think before, when I was pregnant with my son, I actually bought these at like Marshall's or TJ Maxx or something like that. I just bought a package of clearance receiving blankets, and I have been using these wipes for 4 years. They get washed several times a week, every single week, and they look amazing. They don't have any holes in them. They're holding up fantastic. They're really durable. And when you use the pinking shears, you'll see that the edges of this are frayed, and the first few times that you wash, you're going to have some of this fraying, and you can just kind of pull it off like that. I was super skeptical about this. I thought there's no way I'm going to have to sew these edges. I'm going to have to keep recutting them. But after a couple of washes, they just kind of are what they are, and they're just this little light frayed edge, and I never had to do anything else with them. So let's get started. If you're using a receiving blanket, the easiest thing to do is to fold the blanket in quarters. So I've got my blanket, I'm folding it in half, and I'm going to fold it in one more skinny half like this. This is going to yield square-ishes that are about 8 or 9 inches or so. Then you're going to fold in thirds, like that. And then you can just cut. If your scissors are super sharp, you could cut through all of it at one time. I'm not totally sure if that's going to work out, but let's give it a shot. It's been a long time since I made these other ones. So let's see how it does. Yep, that's going to work. So the pinking shears are these like zigzaggy ones. You're definitely not going to want to use your like old craft scissors that have tape stuck to them for this project. You're going to want something that's actually going to cut through fabric. Yeah. Yeah, I hide these from my kids so that they don't think they're like alligator teeth scissors or something like that. You definitely don't want to use your pinking shears on paper or any fabric scissors on paper. It's a really good way to ruin your scissors. Okay, so here we go. Now we have a stack of these. I'm not going to cut this other edge that's already sewn because I don't want to waste a perfectly good edge that somebody else already sewed. All right, I've got one more edge over here. So I'm going to keep cutting these up, and then I'll show you how we can do it with the pants. This is just a pair of sort of flannel-y cotton pajama pants. I'm going to cut off the thicker seam where the cuff is, and I'm also going to I'll cut off the waistband at the top too, but this is kind of the same width as our, like once I cut the seam here, this will be almost about the same width, so if this exact size is really important to you, you can measure it. Otherwise, it's not really that big of a deal. Somebody's going to wipe their bottom with it. So, oh, I'm going to use this. I'll use this as a guide, actually. Here's our ones we just cut. And I'm just going to cut along this line like this. This is like how I roll for sewing projects. God bless anybody who knows how to sew. You can make super fancy. I've seen tutorials for like these kinds of wipes where you use, you serge the edge and whatever, and that's awesome. I'm not that girl, but you don't really need to sew for a project like this. So I'm just cutting off the sort of thicker seam edge here from the pants, and I'll do the same thing on this side. These are kind of handy because there's like a built-in grid guide, like when you buy the expensive wrapping paper. It's got that grid on the back, which doesn't really make any sense to me, like, because, oh. And you know what, this like edge is all wonky jobbed, and if you're gonna make these out of pants or out of a shirt or something, you're gonna have some like weird looking edges. If that bothers you, get a ruler, but honestly, this isn't that serious. Okay, I'll keep cutting these up, and then, yeah, I'm just gonna keep cutting these up. So I cut up these pants, and I would suggest that when you get kind of like to the top of your pants or your shirt or whatever, you've got this like little bit left. It's not gonna make a really good wipe. It's not gonna be enough to like blow your nose with, or like, you don't really want to be wiping poop with a teeny tiny little wipe, believe me. So that's it. We got about a dozen wipes out of these pants and a dozen wipes out of your receiving blanket. I would suggest having as many of these around as you can reasonably store, because they're infinitely useful. You wash them, you dry them. Remember I said they're gonna fray at the edges. Don't freak out, I promise. They'll stop doing it after a couple of washes. Do remember to clean it out of your dryer filter, because a lot of it will come out, a lot of those strings. And I hope that's really helpful to you. Here is another one small change that you can make to make your life a little more frugal and a little more natural. Use these as Kleenexes, use them to wipe faces, use them for bottoms. I hope that you find a million uses for these with your family. If you like what you see and you want to know about more small changes that you and your family can make, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.